Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's Wednesday, so this is Waffle on a Wednesday, where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. And I'd like to start by once again saying thank you to everyone that took the time to ask questions in last week's video. And if you're new here, then please do feel free to leave your questions in the comments section of this video, and I'll do my best to answer those questions in next week's Waffle on a Wednesday. Right, let's get on with this week's Waffle on a Wednesday. Here's a really quick one. This comes from Andrew Dunnan. Andrew is a member of my channel, so Andrew gets to see all my videos early and with no adverts. Really good question, Andrew. Hi Mel, how about free sticker for all your paying members? That's a brilliant idea, Andrew. The only trouble is I don't have any access to your information, your details. So Andrew, if you'd like to send me an email with your address, I'll gladly send you a free sticker, and that goes to all my paying members as well. If you get hold of me, my email can be found on my homepage. Yeah, send me your address and I'll gladly send you a free sticker. And thank you to all my members for all your support, all your encouragement. I really do appreciate it, and it would be my pleasure to send you a free sticker. Thank you, Andrew. Now the next question is also from a member of my channel, and this is Rob Trueblood. Rob asks a question about my recent Lagun table leg installation, or fake Lagun table leg installation. Was just wondering whether the leg was binding on top part of the bench, causing it not to slide freely. Love to you and Rebecca. Thank you, Rob, that's really appreciated, and thank you for being a member of my channel. The Lagun table leg, let me just move you down a little bit, hopefully you can see this. Sorry about the creaking noise in the camera. There is plenty of gap between the leg and the bench. It's not sliding, it's not binding at all. It's just purely because it is new, I guess. It's new and it kind of binds a bit, but since adding some silicone lubricant to it, it has made it move a little bit freer. But to be honest, now that I've set the height, I don't move it up and down anyway. It's fine as it is. So yeah, it's not really a big issue because I don't adjust it basically. So, but thanks Rob for the good question, and thank you for all your support and encouragement. Really appreciate it, mate. Now Devonian asked a really good question. There's something I'm really passionate about, and that is scuba diving. I used to love scuba diving. I've got hundreds of log dives, and I'll read this bit of the question out. I did scuba diving in Australia 20 years ago, East Coast, and it was amazing. But what's it like in the UK? Is it worth it? It is most definitely worth scuba diving in the UK. It's, yeah, scuba diving anywhere is worth it, even in your local swimming pool, just purely for the fun of it. Me personally, I've never dived in the UK. I've only ever dived abroad, places like Australia. As far as making videos about scuba diving on this channel, probably if I get a chance to go scuba diving with my metal detector, that is. And sticking with the subject of metal detecting, RMTV77. Hi Mel, what's a good metal detector to get? I'd like the telescopic handle like you have. Well, RMTV77, all of my metal detecting equipment you will find in my Amazon storefront, and which you will find a link to in the description of this video. I also put a link in every comment section of every video to my Amazon storefront. You'll find a section there with all the equipment I use for metal detecting. For a first timer, I would recommend a Minelab Go Find. Really good versatile metal detector, really simple to use, and the resale value, they kind of hold their value as well. So if you decide metal detecting is not for you, you can always sell that machine on and not lose too much money. Okay, so here's a little bit of a technical question. This comes from Chris Ink Tattoo Studio. A question about battery monitors. I've got a Renogy DC to DC and all wired up, and the green light is on, but no way of seeing if or how it is charging my batteries. But looking at all monitors, they connect by removing all negatives from the house battery, but I have negative cables from different items going to each battery. You say each battery, Crisp, so I'd imagine you've got multiple batteries, and if you've got negatives going to different batteries, then that is completely wrong. You need to disconnect all your negatives from your battery and put them to ground on your van, and then have one negative cable coming from one of your batteries going to ground via a shunt. And if you want to know how to wire that up, then I'll put a link up here to the video that I made, which is called Shunt for Dummies. Hopefully I made it as simple as possible, but yeah, do check out that video if you want to know how to fit a battery monitor. Imran Mahid asks a really good question. Hi Mel, just another quick question. Thank you Imran, we do like a quick question. As a person living in a van, being very mobile, do you park stay mostly in one area, perhaps around work or family, etc.? Or do you travel, stay in different locations often? Well Imran, not everybody that lives in a camper van does it so they can perpetually travel. I personally started living in a van purely to save money, to save paying somebody rent all the time. It was purely financial decision to move into my van. And when I did move into my van, just like everyone else, I was still going to work on a daily basis, and at night, rather than coming home to a house, I would come home to my camper van. And then I came here to help Rebecca with her camper van, and I've been here ever since. And that was about just over a year ago now. Hopefully soon I'll be heading up to Scotland for the winter. Now Ian Miley asks a really good question. Hi Mel, love your channel. Thank you Ian. I want to start van life, but I'm 6'2" and worry about bed size and roof height. I have a small limited budget, and do you have any advice for us tall people and what van to buy? Cheers Ian. Well Ian, whilst I can't actually offer you any advice on what particular van to buy, apart from buy the biggest van you can possibly find, if you was to buy a Sprinter like mine, I think you'll find you'll have plenty of headroom. I'm 6 foot. Look at that, and I've got plenty of headroom, but the reason I've got this much headroom is because of the way I've done my ceiling, and my floor has very limited insulation as well, and that's what gives me this head height. If I was you, any tall people, I'd say don't insulate your floor, give yourself a little bit of head height. As far as the bed's concerned, and I sleep crossways in my bed, but only because I removed the ribs from each side and I've got minimum insulation again on side to side. But if you get a long wheelbase Sprinter, then you can have your bed lengthways in the van. Hope that answers your question. Don't let being 6'2" put you off living in a van. I highly recommend it. You will not regret it. Now I guess because winter is fast approaching, I've had quite a few questions recently about diesel heaters, most of which I've managed to just answer in the comments section, but there's one question that came up that I'd like to answer today, and it seems to me to be quite relevant because I'm about to change my diesel heater in my van. And this comes from Chris Tate. Hi Mel, love your vlogs, very informative. Thank you Chris. I was just wondering, as I am in the middle of designing the layout of my van, what kind of temperature does the diesel heater itself become when on full output, i.e. what kind of items must I not store in the same compartment as the heater itself? Are there any items that may catch fire from the heat radiated from the unit? PS, I'm going for a smaller diesel heater as I have a smaller van. Good choice Chris, getting a smaller diesel heater is definitely worth considering. I've got a 5 kilowatt heater in my van, and even that I can't leave on full time on its lowest setting. It just simply gets too hot in here, and I end up opening the window or turning on my ceiling fan. So that's why I've ordered a new smaller heater, a 2 kilowatt heater. And I think I've mentioned this in the past, but more about that in a minute. Let's get to your question. The diesel heater itself is surrounded by a plastic shroud. Actually, it might be easier if I get this out of the box and show you. Let's just move my laptop from there. I'll put it on my new Lagun swing out table. Right. Oh, I ain't gonna do this without making a mess. There is no easy way. It's the only thing with this polystyrene, it does make a mess. Now at this point I would like to say thank you to maXpeedingroods for sending me this diesel heater so quickly. I ordered it in the afternoon. The following day I got an email from Hermes saying we have your parcel, it would be delivered tomorrow. This morning this turned up, so 2 days, which is a massive improvement. I remember the first time I brought a diesel heater for one of my very first camper vans, it took 3 months to turn up. Great company. I don't hesitate to recommend them. So let's get back to Chris's original question. Are they safe? Are they going to catch fire? Very unlikely Chris, because the whole thing is actually made of plastic except for the internal components. If I take this cap off, you'll see it is actually made of plastic, and the surround itself, there you go, it's plastic as well. All the internals are pretty much metal except for the plastic PCB board, the control board. The hot part are these, what do you call it, a vein? Yeah, the veins inside, or the fins inside, are what get hot. It's a bit like a motorbike engine if you look inside there. And inside there you can see the vanes inside. So this is the hot compartment, and again it is surrounded by plastic, and the thing that stops these from melting is this fan. It draws air in that end, passes all the air over that, and then the hot air comes out at this end, and all the time that fan's running it keeps the unit cool. I think the only time you run a risk of anything catching fire is if there's a sudden power loss. If the power was to suddenly cut out and this thing was going full tilt, then you may have a problem. Actually, that would make a really good experiment to turn one of these on and then just disconnect the power and see what happens. Will it actually self-destruct? Be interesting. Leave a comment below if you want me to power one of these up and then just switch it off just to see what happens, because you know me, I do like an experiment, and it just so happens when I swap these over I'm going to have a spare one kicking around. Now, getting back to fire risk, the exhaust, they do get really hot. This is probably the one place that you do really want to keep separate from anything that's flammable, because these glow cherry red. So if there's any risk of fire, that's where it's going to come from, the actual exhaust. I would say make sure you fit it properly, bolt it down to the floor and have your exhaust coming out the floor. Don't put it up on legs like I have mine. I mean, I fitted mine temporarily, but it's kind of ended up permanent, which is why I want to change it over. Underneath this little cap here there's a glow plug. Get yourself a spare glow plug. Whenever these foul, it's usually the glow plug that's burnt out. Right, I hope that puts your mind at ease, Chris. Now, I will put a link in the description of this video where I got this from. I'll put a link to maXpeedingroods eBay account, their website, and I'll also put a link for their Amazon account as well. Like I said, I do recommend maXpeedingroods. Now, why is a biker ask a question about my cubic mini wood stove, which unfortunately is out of shot. It's just down here. Hi Mel, I have a couple of questions about the wood burner surround. Did you use hardy backer board, and did you use heat resistant paint on the boards where the tile ends? Thanks, Warren. Hi Warren, good question. No, I didn't use hardy backer. I used flame resistant plasterboard, which is available at all good DIY stores. I got mine from Wix's, and you can tell the flame resistant stuff because it's pink. And if you're unsure, just ask a member of staff at any DIY store and I'm sure they'll point you in the right direction. As for the paint, it's just regular matte emulsion paint I've used throughout the van. All the white you see here is the same paint. The cubic mini wood stove is quite low in my van, and it is surrounded by really thick floor tiles, and that is more than enough protection. It does give out a lot of heat, but it doesn't give out enough heat to set things on fire around it. And the flue is lined as well. And if you're interested in my cubic mini wood stove and how I installed it, I will put a link to the entire playlist up here. It's a fantastic bit of kit, even if it is a little bit on the expensive side. But saying that, I wouldn't be without it. I absolutely love it. It's such a nice heat from it. It's just different from using a diesel heater. Fantastic, but it does take a little bit of looking after. It does take a little bit of maintenance. And the wood, I'll just show you the wood. This is like a standard log that you're buying, those logs you get from B&Qs and stuff, and I have to cut them in half, otherwise they won't fit. But I'll tell you what, it's well worth the effort. Well worth the effort. Well, there you go. Hopefully you found this video mildly entertaining and slightly informative, and if you did, then please do give me the thumbs up. And don't forget, if you're new to my channel, please do consider subscribing, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments section of this video. I'll do my best to answer them next week. Thanks for watching. Ta-ra for now.